All right, we're recording. So, welcome back, everyone, to the Intentional Coaching Podcast. I'm Laura Varga, and today I am trying something new for the first time by having a special guest join me and also on video. So, we're going to see how this goes today. We're also using new technology. So, pretty excited that we're both willing to just go for it. So, this is Yvonne Garvey, a speaker and author, among other things. And I'm so happy that we've connected through a mastermind group and we have a lot to learn about each other. So, Yvonne, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been one of my goals lately to get out into the public eye a little bit more to promote some of the work I do in my book, and coming onto podcasts is one of them. So this worked out really well.
Yes. And I'm so glad that you reached out too because it nudged me to get on video, which is something I've been avoiding for a very long time. Like, I don't mind it in certain settings, but I have not had my own podcast on video yet. So uh, it's a
And I
bit
get
outside
that.
of my comfort zone too.
Yeah. I've had to do some different videos for social media, and it's a learning curve.
Yeah, for sure. So, normally, I would say this is also new for me because Yvonne and I are just gonna have a conversation today, and I'm gonna ask some questions and we'll just see where this takes us. But our plan is to talk a little bit about our experience with Joe Dispenza, our experience in a mastermind group, focused on the work of Bob Proctor. And I also am very excited to learn about your book, Yvonne. Um, so I think I'd like to start with the book because I don't want to forget to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I want you to share the title first, and then if you want to tell us a little bit what it's about and anything else that stands out to you.
Great. So my book is called Stumbling Blindly Toward Grace, a messy and miraculous memoir. I launched it in November. So I had a big launch at a place here in my hometown. And it is a memoir. It's a dark comedy, and it's about a blind alcoholic who is me. And originally, the book just started by me gathering my thoughts at my computer over and over and over again. And then I was like, maybe I can do something like this. And back in the day, I used to love writing, but I got away from it, especially when I became a little more sick in the throes of alcoholism. So since getting it out there, I've had a lot of really great feedback. I've been really enjoying sharing the message. It's basically the story of all of the really major things and some of the little things that sort of made me become an alcoholic, or led, not made me, but all of a sudden it's not like I was just an alcoholic one day. There was all kinds of little things that made that story kind of happen. I actually
That's
have, sorry, go ahead.
powerful. Like I think that part's powerful because I think sometimes we don't get that piece of the story. I feel like a lot of things we see online from people is that like what the solution was or what they overcame or how they, what they're doing now, but we don't always get to hear about it's a building block that leads you to
Yeah,
everything, right? So I like
absolutely.
that that's included in it. Yeah.
There's actually a couple of pages in the beginning of my book, and it's called A Recipe for Alcoholism. And then it's like next to this really ridiculous. Well, when I do the presentation in front of audiences, I have this ridiculous picture of me as a teenager, and there's just these little things that build up over time: shame, lack of self worth, lack of self confidence, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you are introduced to alcohol, and everything's better, right?
Self-medicating. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, until it's not. So, a lot of people can resonate with it too because it talks about all the little intricacies. Like if you are a big raging alcoholic like me, um, you end up in some messy situations, messy dating situations, marriages, love life, um, and then all of a sudden you kind of hit your bottom, and it's a chance to change. And I think a lot of people hit that bottom in different ways, right? Like it could just be depression, burnout. Your
Yeah.
body might change on you, and you might become really sick, and you have to force yourself to look at what's going on and what needs to change.
Yeah.
So I've been getting that book out there. There's a chapter in the book called Detox. And when I got sober, I went to Pinewood Detox in Oshawa. And I just got this like really great story that I want to share.
Yeah.
I mailed some books to the detox center and they didn't ask for them. And I don't know, once they got them, I had no idea if they wanted them, but I thought they could pass them around to some of the ladies that were going through there, because in detox, it's quite boring. If you are not, if you've never been before, you don't pack properly, right? Like I had nothing to do and I just had to dry out. So I thought it could be something for the women there to read. And a couple of days ago, I was tagged on social media with a picture of my book and an inscription in it. And a woman that had read it in detox mentioned how she loved reading it with her friends in detox. And then months later, a friend of hers had bought the book for her at one of my speaking events. And everything kind of came together like full circle. And I was so excited to hear and picture now. I can imagine the women gathering in like the television room talking about my book, and that
Yes.
it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's inspiring others that there is a better life out there if you want it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that, and it's serendipitous because of you putting something out into the world with the hopes that it will help someone and not knowing, and then getting to have that, like, for that person, it was a clear message to them that the book was
Yeah.
meant for them, right? That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I think that we had I just had a thought. We had briefly discussed this, um and that you had sent it in, but there was something else I wanted to know about it. Oh, we talked briefly about when we put something out into the world and the amount of time that you don't know what
Yeah.
it's doing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and I think that that was a good example of that. Remind me how long it was between when you mailed the books to when.
Um, I mailed the books in March, in honor of my 4 years of sobriety, right? And then I'm hearing
Nice.
about it in July.
Wow. Yeah.
And so
And
you do
see,
have to be patient.
yeah. And I think believe that you like if you created something like that, you know that there's power behind it and you know that it's meant for people. And I think that a lot of people and probably people listening and entrepreneurs that put things out into the world, they like everyone wants the instant feedback that they've
Mhm.
impacted someone, but they you don't realize the amount of things that you put out into the world that are floating around that are making a
Yeah,
difference in someone's life every day and you won't even ever hear about it, but it is
it's
happening,
there.
right?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll take like copies of my book that have been damaged a little bit, and I'll write my phone number and put keep shining bright and then put it in the book libraries
Aw.
in and around town. So it'll be cool if one of those ever comes back my way.
I love that. I think it's so important. I think that is how you create serendipities because you're trusting the universe to you're like, I'm putting this out here and I'm going
Yeah,
to trust that it's going to fall into the hands of who needs it.
the right person. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love that. So,
Me too.
yeah. Um, and I guess speaking of books, it reminds me of our our brief connection that we made about Joe Dispenza.
Mhm.
And I know that we've shared in our mastermind group. I think you've read a few books, and I know
Yeah.
I've read a few because I can't stop sharing some pages from what I'm reading right now. Um, so I'm just curious, what's your experience like with the work of Joe Dispenza, and has it had impact on you recently, or was it part of your recovery? I'm curious because I'm obsessed with, like, I
Yeah.
believe in his work so much. So
I once I kind of stumbled onto him, it was like a tunnel, right? Because you could just keep finding out more and more and more. And there's so much information out there because he is very generous with it. And
yes,
so and then when I hear that he's like he knows how you can align your chakras, and then he talks about in his own personal story healing his own back, right? And I'm really curious in that because I am legally blind, I'm visually impaired, and I'm like, well, maybe I can use spiritual tools and work towards improving my eyesight or healing my eyes. But more than anything, his meditations are beautiful. His message is great. Um, I think the book I read, I always say it wrong, but it was the one about forgetting who you like, the art of becoming unbecoming
breaking
yourself.
Oh,
Breaking the habit
breaking
of
the
being yourself.
breaking the habit of being yourself. Yes. I love that one. I think that was the first one that I read, and I think I read it maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And then I bought Becoming Supernatural, and I've read that probably 2 or 3 times, and I just started reading it again in the last week. And then You Are the Placebo is one that I usually recommend to people that, like, I find is very connected to healing your body,
Mm,
Like, I just
yeah.
find it's very structured and, like, helping you understand the process and how to change internally to then change your biology, right?
Yeah, and it all just keeps coming back to, you're not your thoughts and you can control your thoughts and then these beautiful things can happen. And
Yeah.
anyone with a message like that is really attractive to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you shared on a call, I think it was on our mastermind call the other day, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but
No,
about your eyesight, I think you went to the doctor or got some scans or
yeah.
something, and there was an improvement?
Yeah, so I go annually to my ophthalmologist and we do this like ridiculous visual field test, which is it's ridiculous because I can't see most of them, right? And you hit this little button when all the lights are coming up, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm probably gonna, tank this test too." But so when it was all said and done, I asked my doctor. I said, "How did I do? Like, is it is it stable? Is it worse?" And he said, "Well, here's the thing, Yvonne." And he said, "Take this with a grain of Himalayan salt because he's a big nerd." And he said, "You did better. You did better on the test." Now he's like, "You cannot get better. Your eyes will not get better. It is a degenerative disease. I don't want you reading into this." And I'm sitting here and it in front of him. I said, "No, I understand." But in my head, I'm like, "Oh, I'm reading into this." I am 100% reading into this. And like, I'm thinking when I come back next year, it's going to be even better. And eventually he's going to have to say, something's going on here. But
Yes.
either way, he was still excited because stability is still not lost. So it's a win
Yeah.
within the field of vision loss. But the thing that was different about it all, it wasn't until the past last year that I started changing my own language and my own thoughts around my vision. And so
Mhm.
I used to say I'd like to go see the northern lights before I lose more vision. And now I say I'd like to go see the northern lights with the vision I currently have. And
Oh,
that's a big shift that took me a long time, and a lot of like, repetition and people calling me out on it. But now that
yeah.
it's there, the eye test, the results are sort of
Yeah.
exciting.
It is so exciting, and it reminded me of, I just watched one of the testimonials on Joe Dispenza's YouTube page yesterday that was, like, exactly like that. It's the, doctors saying, this is terminal or this is this way, and the person being like, they no longer believe that's true. Like, that's not true. They know they're gonna heal somehow. They
Yeah.
don't know how. And then they go in, maybe 6 months later, maybe a year later, maybe 2 years later, and all of a sudden their doctor's like, "I have no idea how, but you've cured yourself."
Exactly, right? And
Yeah.
all it really requires is an open heart and an open mind.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
go with it, right? But if you keep
Totally.
closed off and I actually was at a yoga class yesterday and the instructor loves this quote. And I don't know who says the quote, but the quote is, if you don't believe in magic, surely you won't find it.
Yes. It's so
Right.
true.
And it's like, yeah, of course.
I was reading that yesterday in the book Becoming Supernatural that he essentially says the same thing. If you're not paying attention to the field, then you're not going to know it's there. It's like you
Yeah.
choose to focus, what you focus on is what is available to you, right?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
quantum field. Sometimes when he talks, I'm just like, what? I don't even know, right? What he's talking about,
Yeah.
but I still think it's cool.
I the weirdest, most serendipitous thing happened to me this week. It was I just randomly picked up the Becoming Supernatural book last week because I I think because of the work we're doing in the mastermind group, but also because I thought I really want to reprogram my brain. And so I didn't want to reach for my phone in the morning. So I'm like, I'm going to read this every morning, like a page, 2 pages, a chapter, whatever I have time for. And it just so happens, like, I don't read books in order. So I open it to whatever page and start
Yeah.
reading. And everything that I read in the 7 days leading up to Tuesday, which was a lecture of his that I joined online, basically everything that I had just read is exactly what he was talking about. So it's like it was getting more deeply programmed into my mind watching him like give this lecture. And it was just, I'm like, that's just how the universe works. That,
Hmm.
like it's obviously this message that I'm meant to learn on a deeper level. And I got it from all different angles.
Yeah.
So
It was coming your way whether you wanted it or not.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
powerful. And so with that, you mentioned about being legally blind, and
Hmm.
did you is that in your book? I think you had mentioned. Do you talk about that?
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so I wasn't well, I guess technically I was born with it. I have a condition called retinitis pigmentosus, and then it causes over time extreme tunnel vision. So when I see, it's like seeing through a little paper towel. And it comes with a paper towel roll, and it comes with a lot of mixed emotions. So I didn't find out I was legally blind till 2018, and I think part of the reason why it went on as long as it did is because my drinking was so bad, and I didn't notice I was going blind. You might be drinking too much vodka when, but once they finally figured it out, they took my license away, and I didn't really fit in with the sighted or the blind. I had a lot of like feelings of almost like being a fraud, like going out shopping, and I would use my cane so I wouldn't bump into people or whatnot. And then I'd feel uncomfortable going through a rack of clothing, seeing what I wanted, right? Because I was really, really worried about what people could think. But,
Right.
some of this, it took a lot of work for me to realize it's none of my business what anyone else thinks. And I'm doing everyone a favor by using my cane and identifying as a visually impaired person, because when I don't use it, I smash into the little old lady with her groceries and she's upset with me because she thinks I'm rude and
Right.
so on, right? So, but it took a long time, especially because I went on a 4-year bender after I was diagnosed. So it wasn't until I got sober and after a year of sobriety, because that took a lot of interpersonal work and growth, that I was like, "Oh, shit, like, I'm blind, I gotta figure this out." And then
Yeah.
part of that was joining a community here in Peterborough called Canadian Council of the Blind. So they needed a lot of help, like, with their website and stuff that I could help them with, and then I learned a lot from them as well, like, people that are far progressed in their vision impairment, and they're fine, and they're happy, and they're living their life. So, like, I know I'll be okay no matter what happens.
Yeah. And there is lots of support, and that you're engaging in support in the community always it always makes a difference, right? You're putting something
Mhm.
out again out into the universe of that you want to contribute and see this improve for other people. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a
And
good way to be.
so many people, especially people with vision impairments, they isolate, right? They're not a part of, because it's everything's a little more difficult. So it's the council's whole point is to get everyone together,
Yeah,
include people, right?
yeah,
It's that whole message around inclusivity and accessibility, and I'm still learning a lot about it, but it's pretty cool stuff.
that's awesome. And so good to support your local community. It always
Hmm.
feels good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we had a quick clip the other day, and as we were testing out the technology that we were going to
Mhm.
use, and I know that you had mentioned there was a topic that, like, I think that I don't know if it was AI or Substack or whatever it was, created these clips for us. I think it's Substack automatically creates clips,
Mhm.
and I don't remember what the title was, but it was pretty abrupt. It made up its own title for our
It's
conversation.
phones ruin mornings.
Right.
Phones ruin mornings. And it's so true.
Yeah, it is. And I that is something that I feel like we talk about that in our mastermind a lot, like about the little habits that are getting in
Mhm.
our way. But I know that it's habits that everyone has. So you don't really notice that it's necessarily a bad thing, or maybe, and I don't even have to call it bad, but usually because everyone does it, everyone in quotations, because not everyone does it, but like everyone scrolls, everyone grabs their phone first thing in the
Mhm.
morning. Joe Dispenza talks about that, I think, in all of his books. Like,
Yeah.
like you check your apps, you check your email, you check all of this, and then that's what you're programming into your brain as soon as you wake up, and it's
Yeah.
not
It
necessarily the best thing for
it
you.
sets the tone, and you no longer have control on setting the tone for your day.
Right,
It's that
exactly.
whole that idea of living intentionally. It just robs you of it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so interesting that you just used that word, intentional. I so Intentional Mornings is the name of a program that I created in 2021. It's a 21-day program to help people kick that exact habit of like, what do they
Mm,
reach for first in the morning? What do they do to nourish themselves? And like, what are they thinking about first? Because that does set the tone for your whole day. And in that, I talk about daily resets, because sometimes your day does get off track.
mhm.
But if you have that, like, if you feel empowered that you know that you can turn it around in any minute, and like for me, if I know I'm going in a different direction than I want to, or if my analytical mind is driving me nuts, like, because it won't turn off,
Yeah.
which is usually what happens when you start with your phone first thing, right? Like, you're
Yeah.
instantly turning this analytical part on, which means then you're not as connected to everything else. I usually do like 5 or 10 minutes of breath work, or like somatic exercise or something, even, 3 or 4 times a day to reset, just so that I
Mhm.
like, because it's like, what do you call that? It's like it builds momentum if you
Yeah.
stay in the analytical mind, and then you can't really get out of it too
It's hard to
easily.
shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then you can feel you feel out of alignment, and
Mhm.
you're not doing your best work, you're not communicating with your loved ones in the same way. Everything's worse.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
distracted. And I
Yeah.
think I also am noticing lately that I haven't talked to anyone about this, so bear with me.
Yeah, no, I love it.
My worry for the world, because that's how much time I spend worrying about things, is I I'm like, I feel like we already have enough of a problem with people, addicted to their phones and addicted to social media, and getting lost in this uncontrollable thought pattern. And my concern, because I notice it in myself, and this is how I teach things, right? Like, you experience it in
Yeah.
yourself, and then you're like, well, probably a million people are also experiencing the same thing. And it's AI is concerning me, because I use Chat GBT, like, I'm, like, off and on with it, but what I've noticed, and I've really stopped using it a lot in the last few weeks, because I noticed that it's making my analytical mind a little bit more, like, inflamed, meaning because it's so much information instantaneously, and we already are overloaded with information,
Mm,
especially if you're someone that's on social media all the time. You're constantly flipping topics and
yeah.
absorbing information that you don't need. And so I noticed that it's making my mind more analytical. And so my fear is that we haven't even like gotten out of the other side of social media being a problem. And now we're introducing these like chat bots that are on our phones. And so what I'm most worried about is like people are already disconnected from their intuition and from their inner
Yeah.
knowing and their bodies, and I'm not sure if this is really what we need right now, like, and that's like what my mission is, to bring people back to like making your own decisions and feeling it in your own body rather
Yeah.
than chat gpt
Asking chat. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, what should I wear for this podcast?
Yeah, and
Right?
it's like such a helpful, amazing tool in so many things, but I don't know if what is your experience? Have you noticed that your analytical mind, like, you can get in a tunnel with it? Because
Yeah, so I find I use it for work things, and it's very helpful,
yes,
especially with my communications clients, right? It can save a lot of
definitely.
time. When it comes to personal stuff, yeah, you can start going down a tunnel, and you can learn too much, and you become overstimulated,
Yeah,
and then nothing's authentic anymore.
right.
And I almost find that scrolling is less enjoyable because you can pin out who's writing posts with social media. Sometimes I love seeing posts with typos in it because I know it's real.
I know that that's the other thing too. Like I thought it was such a neat tool that it, can create all these things so quickly, but then I've stopped like now I haven't posted in a while because I don't want to use AI to
Yeah.
create my posts, and I haven't emailed in a while, and just I yesterday on my crazy busy day that we drove for 2 hours, did yard work like for 4 hours at our house, and in that 4 hours, I sat down because I was in the zone, like, I was connected
Focused.
to
Yeah.
nature, connected to myself, and I was, like, very I had done a Joe Dispenza meditation, and I wrote out 5 emails in, like, 20 minutes, all myself, like, didn't
All
use.
you. Just
Yeah.
Laura.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I hadn't done that in a long time because, like, I was thinking that I have to use this tool because everyone else is using it, and if I don't, they're gonna be so much far ahead of me because 'cause they're gonna, boom out content so quickly, but then I'm noticing I don't wanna be that person anyways,
Yeah.
like, I wanna feel authentic, and I want it to be meaningful to me, and I've had it create a whole bunch of, you know, 10 emails that I could just put in and schedule and have them sent out, but
Yeah.
it doesn't that's not I don't know, it's
It's
not
not
feeling
you.
authentic to me.
It makes me think I'm so grateful that chat wasn't available when I wrote my book. 'Cause
Right.
that's all me, right? Minus like, I did have editors, real people come in and help me, right?
Yeah.
But, every morning, no matter what, I sat down and I wrote. Now, whether I wrote, like, content or I reviewed content, I spent time on my book. I devoted time to it every single day. And some days were better than others, and sometimes I'd have to get up and go for a walk, and then out on that walk, the answer to whatever I was working on would come to me.
That's where it downloads.
Yeah, I download it, I come back, and I was so excited, right? So when I do start my second book, I'm not gonna be using chat
Yeah.
at all. It's gonna be all just and so Anne Lamott's one of my favorite authors, and she talks about writing, like, these shitty first drafts, and that's what I did. So you just put it on out there, and it might be absolutely terrible, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's authentic, like, it comes
Yeah,
through in an
and then
authentic way.
you can change it and edit it and let it grow and develop, but
Yeah.
yeah, like, I, yeah, I'm just so glad that it wasn't an option for me.
Yeah,
Just wasn't
and I
around
th and
yet.
I and I think that's my fear now. Like, I promise I don't spend too much time on this fear, but it's a big thought for me. Like, if I was to stand in front of a group of people that I knew were at the intersection of using AI to make decisions or do their work and wanting, like, a fulfilling, deeply connected life, these would be my concerns, and like you just said, like, I just don't know about how are people gonna learn to connect to the download of information that happens when you're on a
Mhm.
walk, because I think that's what happened to me yesterday. I was listening to inspiring things. I did a meditation, but I was also doing yard work, and I had like gloves on, and I was cutting sumac trees that had overgrown and like so many
Mhm.
things, but I was so present with what I
Yeah.
was doing, and that's when you get the
Yeah, you
downloads,
you
right?
cleared out the mental clutter for the room to come in, right? And I think
Yeah,
the main issue with that, real or the main message with that would just be you have to put your phone down at times, right? And you
yeah,
created that like that beautiful space to do that.
yeah,
And, I definitely could that's why I love yoga so much because even like, if you're at the gym, you're still on your phone, you're listening to your tunes, but yoga, the phones don't come into the studio. You are
right.
completely checked out. You are just there with your body, your fellow yogis,
Yeah,
and so much can happen in that hour.
I I love yoga, and I actually practiced at home for a long time, and this sounds kind of crazy, but I moved 10 years ago away from the city. So I lived in Pickering, and I loved going to hot yoga because I was so present. Like, it was like the
Exactly.
most amazing feeling, so challenging, always in my body. And then when I moved, we kind of live out in the middle of nowhere. So the closest studio was 45 minutes away. So I didn't do it.
Yeah,
And I had a young
that's a
child, and I was like,
big
that's a
commitment.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did yoga at home myself, like a YouTube video. Boho Beautiful was my favorite. Like I
Oh, I like
followed.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have some
So
nice meditations too.
yes, yeah, I really resonated with that, and that they were only 20 minutes. So I did that for a long time by myself, and now I don't do. Just in the last year, I'm more like breath work and somatic movements, and walking are my like what I do now. But I
Yeah.
remember being so connected in yoga, and you're so present in it, like even in a class, which for me, I
Yeah.
usually think if I'm around other people, I won't be so present, but it always was. And I think that you told me that, are you a yoga teacher also?
I am. Yeah. I'm a yoga instructor. I'm also a certified meditation coach and Reiki practitioner.
Oh,
So
wow.
I like to throw all modalities at people if they'll listen. It was my therapist that got me onto yoga when I got sober. I was sober, but I still was insane. Like I had all this like energy that I didn't really know what to do with. And she said,
Yeah.
you need to exercise and you'd probably be best off with yoga. And it's also a practice that I can do, and it doesn't matter that I'm visually impaired. I used to love long distance running. This was like back before my alcoholism got really bad. But now, if
Hmm.
I were to run, a half marathon, I'm gonna get hit by a car at some point. So it just doesn't make sense. So I love it. I love instructing it. I love offering it to people that have never tried it. I'm trying to break some of those myths about yoga with particularly men, older men, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that there's more to it than what you think. I have a
Yes.
friend who had a client that he was very manly man and had gone through some things, and he was going away, and he said he was going to an advanced stretching course. And so my friend was just like, "Oh, so you're going to a yoga retreat?" No, no, it is an advanced stretching course, right? So I mean, if you have to call it something else, and in
Yeah.
that moment you're moving your body in a beneficial way with no chatter and
Yeah.
distraction, and yeah.
I I like that it's really beautiful when you can create these things in your life that you're helping other people at the same time you're like getting balance within yourself, and your own, like the
Mhm.
energy exchange of that is pretty powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
do you teach a specific kind of yoga? Everything's so different now that I don't even know if there's, like, I went to, what was it? I don't even remember. Like, it was hot yoga. Oh, Bikram yoga, that was intense. But like
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
different kinds of yoga, and I only really now that I'm a bit older, I love yin yoga, like slow
Yeah.
classes where I hold poses for a long time, and that would be my preference, I think, now over anything else.
Yeah, so I really target mine. It depends. If I'm teaching at the studio, I teach whatever they've signed me up to teach, right? So it could
Okay.
be yang yin, it could be hatha, it could be a hot flow. But on my group classes, they're just gentle, and I also have a lot of visually impaired people come to them as well. So it's gentle, and I try to choose poses that are more logical to cue, right?
Yeah.
So you can say to someone, this is how you're going to move, and this is what it will feel like. So they're putting their hands at least remotely in the right place. And then some, so it's great for beginners, right? And then I always have a guided meditation that I write myself at the end. And I have a theme for every class. So sometimes it's self-worth, other times it's perspective. Like with the heat wave at my hot yoga studio, I'd say, it's funny, we might complain about the heat wave, yet we're intentionally here in a hot room for the next hour, so like just think about that, right? If you look at things a little differently.
Yeah.
So I think I like the theme and the messaging, like that makes it really special for me. And whether people listen doesn't really matter.
Well, I'm someone that I always like really resonated with those messages. Like I liked when there was a personal touch from the teacher, and it meant it meant a lot because it was like authentic. So
Yeah,
I think that's a
yeah.
good thing. I was just thinking about, um actually, I'm going to ask you first, for anyone that's locally listening, it's where, do you want to tell people where you teach yoga
Sure.
so they can go?
Yeah, so I have a drop-in class at Mark Street United Church Saturday mornings here in Peterborough, Ontario. And
Okay,
then I also teach at Peterborough Yoga and Wellness, which is a hot studio. And you can find anything on my website, which is ymgcreations.com. You can get a hold of me.
awesome.
I'm on social media and stuff too. And
Perfect.
my yoga class is virtual. You can sign in virtually on Saturday mornings.
What, really?
Yeah,
Oh, maybe I can join one time
yeah.
soon.
I have one
Yeah.
student that comes in from the East Coast. I have another one that's local, but she's visually impaired, so she doesn't drive. So
Wow,
it's
that's really
yeah,
neat. It's nice you're making it available.
I'm trying to. I'm doing my best to make it as accessible as possible because I
Yeah.
want everyone to do it, right? Like
Yeah.
I got the
'Cause
yoga bug. I just want everyone to feel better.
it feels so good.
Yeah.
Um, that the thing about the heat wave here in Ontario right now and the being in the hot room, I really like that you remind people that it's a choice and what we focus on, like,
Yeah,
and to remind people that there's 6 months of winter that we complain about also, so which one do you want?
absolutely.
But where I am up north right now, we have a sauna, and people keep asking us, like, "Well, do you use it in the summertime?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we used it last week 3 times, even in the heat wave," because I find that, and I think this was true with hot yoga, even when we have a sauna and it's so hot, then you come out, even though it's a heat wave, you feel cooler for hours after, like more
Yeah.
cooler than your body temperature feels different than it would if you didn't. Like, it doesn't get affected by the heat wave as much. Does that make sense to
Well,
you?
and I absolutely. I don't notice the heat like other people do.
Yeah.
Because I do so much hot yoga. And I think too, the act of carving out that time and treating yourself to that time in the sauna is
Mhm.
that's it in its in a nutshell anyways, right?
Yeah, we use it all year round, so and I love going in the lake right after, and, even I used to be able to do it in the wintertime, but now I can't go in the water when it's that cold. I don't know, as soon as I
Yeah.
turned
I'm not
40,
I'm
my
not
body
interested
is
in
like
that.
my
Yeah.
body doesn't like the extreme cold anymore.
Yeah. It probably never did.
No, I was just yeah, maybe I was ignoring it. It's signals.
But I know it's supposed to have a really nice effect after when you get out, right?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
do, like, May till November in, like, going from the sauna to the water, and then
Yeah.
I can't do the extreme anymore.
That's okay, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, I know we didn't really have, a really strict structure for our talk
No,
today, and
but it's
I
been really
actually
great.
I have no idea how long we've even been recording for. I try to keep these short because relative to myself, my attention span is short. So like I usually like
Mhm.
listening to things that are 10 to 20 minutes. And but I
I
do want
think
to
we're closer to a half hour at
yeah,
least.
I
Yeah.
think so too. So I I don't know if there was anything else that you wanted to share today. While you have, while you're in front of a different audience than who you normally speak to. Um, I I guess I'll give you a minute if you wanna share, but then I think we'll wrap up unless I missed something. Like, I know we had
No,
an idea of what we wanted to cover,
I
but
think no, I think we covered it all and more.
okay.
And I guess my only message is, and you and I have talked about it a little bit briefly, is if you want a better life, just make some time for it, put a little effort into it. It could start with that 10 mindful minutes in the morning.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a lot, but you do have to do something. It's not just gonna happen.
Yeah, and we've been talking about that, the decision, like, it's one, make the decision that you're
Yeah.
going to make the time,
Yeah,
and then
the old life
actually
is no good anymore, right? And you want something different.
yeah, yeah, and I'm learning that through our the mastermind group we're a part of
Yeah.
because 'cause I'm not a very like, I don't want to do the exact same thing every single day, but what I've learned from this is that the discipline of that, it's like building a muscle, which then makes
Yeah.
the discipline for everything else
Yeah.
better. And somebody shared about discipline is like free is equal to freedom. I don't remember what it was. Do you remember what it was? It was about
No.
discipline being related to freedom, which I had never really thought of that before because to me, freedom is like free flowing. So
Yeah, they seem opposite, but yeah.
yeah. So I'm playing with that idea and seeing how that helps. But I definitely agree. And I think that for like the thing you do first thing
Mhm.
is a big deal. And I like first thing when you wake up in the morning, what are you focused on? And I think people don't realize how big of a deal that is.
I get up and I have Wayne Dyer's 7 Rules to Live By, and they're
Oh,
on my
nice.
mirror in the bathroom.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like half out of it. I get a lot of night sweats too, so it's just like I'm a disaster. And I'm like, okay, I am enough exactly as I am.
Oh,
And I
I
start
like
going
that.
through them.
Yeah. I love Wayne Dyer. I used to have,
Yeah,
does he have a book? Maybe that's what, is
he's
there
got a
like, he
lot
has
of
like,
books.
yeah, but
He's got
there's a little book
dozens of
called, is
books.
it like the 7 laws of success or the seven, maybe it's what you're talking about. I have this
Yeah,
little book and it's a Wayne Dyer book and it's seven something. I haven't read it
yeah,
for a while.
his 7 rules to live by is I'm enough exactly as I am. I believe in something greater than myself. I'm open to the possibilities of miracles. I choose love over fear. Uh, that's 4. There's 3 more,
Yeah.
but yeah,
That's great. I think that's definitely what I'm learning. So maybe the word wasn't discipline, but it's like repetition. I think
yeah,
repetition is the key.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And I
And
love
what you're,
repetition. I find it
yeah,
comforting.
I'm noticing the power of it just from the work that we're doing. Like
Yeah,
doing 30 days of something every single day, I think is like it reprograms your
it
mind.
pays off. It
Yeah,
pays off.
it
Yeah,
does. Yeah. Awesome. Well,
awesome.
thank you, Yvonne, so much for
Thanks for
joining
having
today.
me. This was a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
for our first, well, my first video podcast experience that I'm hosting. So thanks for being a part of it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and for everyone listening, I'm Laura Varga, lifedesigncoaching.ca, and Yvonne Garvey. What is your website again?
At ymgcreations.com.
Awesome. So that's where you can find us and probably stay tuned. This felt really good, so I'm sure Yvonne and I might do this again soon.
I'd love to. That would be
Yeah.
great.
All right. Thanks, Yvonne.
Thank you.